Good morning, Carmel. I'm Nadine Wishnak, and it's A03. Today, classes G, C, D, and A will meet. The class schedule for tomorrow is B, E, and F. There is no advisory on either day. Advisories that won the decorating contest will each be receiving donuts and advisory and a traveling trophy. Are you interested in going to the Springfield March for Life on April 17th? It is an all-day field trip that will leave from Santa Maria del Popolo at 6:30 a.m. and return at 8 p.m. If interested, contact Ms. Collin by March 26th, next Tuesday, to reserve your spot. All juniors taking the in-school ACT on Tuesday, April 9th must sign up for a mandatory information session in the CCRC during one of their lunch waves this week to create their My ACT account. Registered juniors were emailed a link to sign up. Check your email or stop by the CCRC for more information. Beginning this week and continuing after the break, students will be asked to complete course surveys in all classes. These surveys consist of objective questions on course content and instructional methods. Student responses are submitted anonymously through Google Forms. Please answer the surveys honestly, as they will inform future classroom instruction. Makeup testing will take place immediately after school today in room 110 and will run until 3:15 p.m. Up next, we have Finding Words with Ben Rodriguez, Ms. Kurter on Stations of the Cross, Teacher Talents with Ms. Collin, and Carmel Today.
I'm Ben Rodriguez, and I'm a senior here at Carmel Catholic High School. I've been involved in student council for every year at Carmel, Christian service programs, helping out at food pantries, mainly at Our Lady of the Lakes Parish, my old parish growing up, and recently being a leader on this last Boys Kairos. Next year, I'm undecided on my college, but as of right now, I'm looking to major in mechanical engineering and possibly continue to play football. One point I do remember where I had a sense of belonging was my classes here, mainly my sophomore year chemistry class with Mrs. Titterton. She's a teacher that signifies the rest of the staff here at Carmel. She's very caring, loving. She looks out for her students. She makes sure that the activities in her class are very engaging, that the kids here, love what they do. They don't dread any homework assignments, any tests, stuff like that. She's always going to be that person having her hand on your shoulder to help guide you. I would just say the staff here and just the classes you take, any class you take here, the teachers will always make sure that you feel comfortable and that you're engaged and you want to learn. Mr. Rafferty's English class overall, he's a very down-to-earth guy. He can relate to you. He's a person who he can sense you're having a bad day, and without bringing it up, without signifying it, he'll go up to you, he'll talk to you, he'll ask you a question, he'll try to make you laugh, and he's just always done that. I had his class twice my whole time here at Carmel, my junior year, and now I'm taking a speech class of his this year, and it's just been, when I saw his name for an option, I instantly just clicked and I wanted to choose that right away.
Cool.
I would say the college level courses that you can take here, the honor, the AP classes that I've taken for engineering, other classes as well. I would say mainly the College and Career Resource Center. Ms. Novacek, she's been a very great help in helping kids find their path, find their passion in their career, whether it be setting up stuff for job fairs, whether it be setting up shadow days for different companies. And then just her helping with the college search as well. This year, I know other seniors can say the same thing. It's been a little bit stressful trying to figure out what college you want to do, what you want to pursue in the future. So I would say she's been a really big part in my first steps into adulthood, into really going into my career in the future.
Cool.
If I had to say it in one word, it'd be growth. Coming here freshman year was a little bit hard, a little tricky because of COVID, the whole pandemic, being at home, being in school part-time. It really took a toll on my mental health and my overall character. I became introverted instead of being extroverted my whole life. And then sophomore year, being able to really be in the full high school atmosphere, seeing all my friends in person again for the whole year. I'd say that the word growth really just led me to elevate myself as a person, as a friend, as a leader, as a student, and a young man as well.
Good morning, Carmel. I'm joined by Mrs. Kurger this morning to talk about Stations of the Cross.
So, Mrs. Kurger, what is Stations of the Cross?
Yeah, so Stations of the Cross, it's really a unique way to pray. We can do it at any time during the liturgical season, but it is most popular during the Lenten season, which we're in right now. And it's the way in which sometimes it's called the way of the cross. It's the way in which we walk through or go through the different moments of Christ's passion and death. Normally there are 14. So tomorrow we'll be praying the 14 scriptural Stations of the Cross by Pope John Paul II. And it's really a way in which we just walk with Jesus on his way to Calvary.
So tomorrow is when Carmel Stations will be taking place?
Yes, tomorrow is Stations. Obviously March 22nd at 9:30 a.m. And one thing I do want to tell students is parents are more than welcome. So if you would like to invite your parents to come, please feel free to do so. Stations really, honestly, it's one of my favorite times during the year. So I love that liturgy. We have so many students that work so hard on it, and it's just so beautiful and so great. So, students obviously welcome, and then parents are more than welcome as well.
Wonderful. How can the student body participate for Stations?
Yeah, so I would say there's a number of ways that our student body can participate. One, it's just honestly keeping an open heart and mind to that type of prayer. So having reverence, being respectful, and then just, trying to see yourself in the story. I think there are 14 different moments of Christ's passion and death, each very unique and each very different. And I think a lot of times we think, that happened 2,000 years ago. How can I see myself there? But there's a lot of ways. And we have actually 4 stations tomorrow where students will give a reflection and they'll tie their experience to one of the stations. And so keeping an open heart, keeping an open mind, and then trying to see where do I see myself in this story. And then in a more practical way, definitely to wear black. So tomorrow, all students are able to wear a black top, either uniform or non-uniform top, uniform bottoms, no hoodie. So that's more of a practical way that our students can participate. But I would say also to just being open, entering into the prayer, trying to see where they can see themselves in it as well. And also to communal participation. So at every station, they will be able to respond. They'll hear, "We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you." And our students can respond, "Because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world." So there's a lot of ways in which our student body can participate, and I would very much encourage them to do so.
Is there any other important information that we should note?
I think just, again, as I said, keeping an open heart and mind to the prayer. I think during Lent, obviously there's a lot going on for students right now, but it's really a time in which we can enter into more fully our spiritual lives through things like the Sacrament of Reconciliation that we had going on at theology classes, but then also too, like prayers like Stations of the Cross. I would also say, there's over 120 students that have been participating in Stations. So whether they are actually acting it out, liturgical choir, dance, band, there's so many students that are actually working very, very hard to put this on for our student body tomorrow. So, just to keep that in mind, be respectful to them and enter in more fully to the prayer.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Gerger.
Thanks,
Coming
Deb.
up next, we have Mr. Franklin with Carmel Today after Caitlin Drabinski's Teacher Talents.
welcome back to Carmel or CDN News. Today we have Carmel Today, Father Christian, and we have two esteemed guests.
Yes,
As we celebrate Women's History Month,
correct. Yeah.
we're also trying to highlight some of the women leaders in our school. So Assistant Principal Mrs. Burkhalter and Assistant Principal Mrs. White are here to join us. So
Thanks for having us.
So welcome, assistant principals, and maybe as we begin our conversation, can you share how you felt that call to serve in education or to serve in the school?
yeah.
Well, my journey started here, actually, my senior year in my AP English class with Lynn Strutzel. She was my teacher. After I gave a presentation, she called me over and said, Jen, I don't know what your plans are for college, but I really think you should consider being a teacher. And that planted a seed. I had never considered it before. And I went to Bradley University, got my degree in English and certificate in teaching. And lo and behold, I never thought I'd be back here teaching, but there was an opening and I applied and been here ever since. That was 30 years ago.
Wow. And you taught English here.
I taught English, yes. Yeah, so that's how my journey started. It's been a lot of iterations since then. Lynn Strutzel actually became an assistant principal. And then when she became principal, she asked that I move into administration. So after getting my master's in instruction, I got my certificate in administrative leadership.
Well,
Yeah,
I have
really
to
cool.
ask, do you miss the classroom?
Oh, I do. I do. It was a tough transition. Now I know the students through my own kids. Luke is a senior. I've had three
Sorry, Luke.
go through. Hi, Luke.
Shut up. And Jalen.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's working here with them has been a blessing. At least for me. I think they'd say the same. There are definitely perks, but yeah, it's been a wonderful journey.
Mrs. White.
For me, I would say I always wanted to be a teacher. I can remember being a little girl and playing school, and my two sisters were my students. So I just always wanted to be in education. I think growing up in a small area, I really just assumed teaching was the only area to go into in education. It wasn't until I got to college where I discovered what school psychology was, and it kind of pulled together working in a school, but also my interest in psychology, and ended up doing some graduate work with the graduate program where I was at school, and applied to be in the school psychology program, and from there just ended up being there was so much about school psychology that you kind of were a pseudo leader, and so going into leadership after that was kind of a natural progression for me.
So maybe explain, but as you say, leadership. Explain maybe what your leadership role is here at Carmel.
So I'm assistant principal of student services, so I oversee all of the different programs and support systems that we have here. So our school counselors, our college counseling department, our school psychologist, our nurse, and our Startup Center. So anything that our students might need would be under my purview.
Mrs. Burkhalter?
I take care of the faculty. I'm in charge of teaching and learning. So I really focus on what is taught and how it's taught. And there are some other facets to my job, but really the highlight of my role is to help teachers reach their professional goals.
Cool. Yeah, and I think going back to your teaching, when I started here back not too long ago.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, you were a teacher here, and it was
Yeah.
it was I don't know. I gained a lot just from watching you teach in the library, bringing your students into which was fun. It was cool.
I miss it. I think you need a certain confidence to teach.
Sure.
But at a very basic level, you need to love being around teens.
Yeah.
You need to love them more than your content. A little bit of both is great, but
Sure.
This is a great place to have built our careers. And
What about, and you were probably with smaller populations, right? So in your classes. So how does that how do you miss that part of it?
In terms of, well, I came from elementary, so this
Oh,
was my,
wow. Okay.
yeah, working at Carmel was my first high school experience with the exception of like assistantship and
Sure.
some practicum experience. So I didn't know how much I loved high schoolers until I just kind of ended up here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, my background was definitely elementary.
Sure.
High schoolers are fun.
They are.
Hey.
Maybe not as fun as
Cool.
kindergartners, in my opinion,
Yeah.
but they're fun.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for being with us on the
Sure.
show and sharing your story and your ministry here at Carmel. We're so blessed to have both of you, and I know on behalf of our students, just the entire community, thank you for all that you do and the impact you have. You are God's presence for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
And CDN will, that concludes CDN for this morning. Have a thankful Thursday, Carmel.